This project is located in the heart of Marina del Rey, which is about a mile from the beach, a mile from Venice. And this is a 3-acre site. It's 3 contiguous lots. Now we're redeveloping it into a Class A office development.
When laying out mass timber options against other buildings, it's usually traditional steel framing with concrete over metal deck, concrete framing where it's just a 2-way plate with columns. Then we introduce either the full mass timber option or a mass timber hybrid. We knew we wanted to include mass timber. Part of the reason is we had project goals of sustainability, and if resourced responsibly, mass timber can reduce the embodied carbon impact of a building structure. The biophilic aspect, it feels good to be in there. So especially in this post-pandemic climate where people are a little apprehensive about going out to an office, and we're looking for a little bit more motivation to be in a space that is conducive to good work, this is hard to beat.
We really saw mass timber as a way for us to start to weave into the design real substantial, meaningful ways to reduce our carbon footprint. Things like a lighter building. Timber provided us to cut the weight of the overall building down by almost half, therefore reducing the size of our footings and foundations and the use of concrete, which is a heavy carbon material. These choices were all interlinked, from experience all the way down to sustainability, to create something special and unique.
This one in particular for me has been very special because it was my first big mass timber project I had ever worked on as a structural engineer.
This is my first mass timber project.
This is the first mass timber project that I've worked on. We've had projects that use glulam beams interfacing with steel structure, but nothing using CLT and mass timber to this scale so far to date. A lot of our subcontractors didn't even know what mass timber was and didn't understand the magnitude until it came out on site. Obviously, once you start seeing the CLT panels closing in on the beams and providing the structure, I think everyone realized how much different this project was going to be than some of their past.
So going through the process on Glencoe, I asked the iron workers a series of questions. One of the questions was, can you get me within a 16th tolerance on your system? And the answer was no, they could not. If I do all the curves, do all the depths, drill all the holes, and I go to set it, and the beams have sweep in them, and they don't fit, now who's to pay? On this particular project, we chose to not fabricate any of the glulam beams at the factory. What we decided to do was do as-built measurements for their system. So if the beam did have a little sweep in it, we just went ahead and accepted it, took measurements, did all the fab off-site, and then brought the beams and set them in place, and they all fit perfectly. As you can see at this site, we have 0 space, and that was a really big challenge. I'm standing maybe 20 feet from an apartment complex. We have trees that are right next to us. We have power lines. We have basically a fire lane in which to bring our material in. We have 29 truckloads of CLT panels, and we have 501 10 3/4 by 24-inch glulam beams.
The challenges between steel and wood integration is the tolerances. There's different manufacturing tolerances, there's different installation tolerances. Getting those to blend together so that you have a nice seamless project that looks like the rendering of the picture is a challenge for both trades.
I think the key to ensuring success with marrying materials that inherently are fabricated to different tolerances is to boil it down to simple connections. It's really straightforward. You drop the glulams into place, bolt them in, and we're done. You drop the CLT panel in, you screw it down, we're done. There's a lot of value, especially on savings in the construction schedule, with that kind of componentized nature of mass timber construction.
So one of the main focuses during the BIM coordination was how do we preserve the clean line, the aesthetic of these glulam beams running through the space without dropping a bunch of MEP systems below the beams. We have a detail that provides a 12-inch mechanical gap in the CLT. We were able to get pretty much all of our fire sprinkler piping ran in those CLT gaps. And I think the final product is coming out very nice, and ownership, everyone's really happy with it.
I guess the only advice for a developer considering mass timber would be to give it a try. It just has so many benefits. It's gorgeous, it's sustainable, it's eye-catching, it's a showpiece, it's flexible. You know, there's so many benefits to using mass timber.
The success of these projects in particular is dependent on consistent and early collaboration between everyone so that we're able to bake all of those different ideas into the design and come up with something that can be executed successfully in field.
You take someone who's experienced like Western Wood at the beginning and you implement them into your plan. They gave me a list of things that they were concerned with, the penetrations, the layout, the coordination, the BIM. This is all that needs to happen and when it needs to happen in order to make your project successful. So, it's a really professional and safe outfit. One of the subs that I'm really kind of still leaning on to basically help drive my schedule forward. So I'm really pleased I'm working with Western Wood right now.